Going to introduce you to someone. This is Thisbe, and there's something really special about Thisbe. Thisbe is an albino leopard gecko. Not sure which one. She's probably just a trimper. Definitely not a bell or anything like that. But Thisbe is actually the very first gecko that I ever owned. And when I had just graduated high school, I purchased Thisbe from a Petco, I believe, and got into breeding leopard geckos. And so a long time before I ever bred racks, I bred leopard geckos and got really into breeding the super hypo tangerine variety, and did that for about 4 years. Had some really good genetics that I was working with, and actually I just on trade one day I got a pair of crested geckos at a pet store in Nashville, and then from that point forward I got rid of all my leopard geckos and really got into the rhacodactylids. So anyways, Thisbe's a pretty cool gal. I'm going to use Thisbe today to show you something new I've been doing, which is actually kind of cool. You obviously want to keep up with your animals and their mass. I actually didn't sell her. I gave her to a friend's younger sister, and she kept her for several years. And then when she got into high school and got too cool for reptiles, she gave her back to me recently. And so I've really been watching her weight, because she's really 64 grams. She really needs to come up from that. But something cool I've been doing is using Google Docs, and I'm not sure if you can see this, but I made a Google form. If you're not familiar with Google Forms, they're really easy to make. I just put in today's date. I just picked her. I'm going to put in here her mass, which today was 64 grams. And I'm going to submit it, and that throws all of this data into a spreadsheet. So if I go to my Google Docs account, so here we go, Gecko data. It pulls up a spreadsheet that has all of the stuff that I've entered into that form. And so if I just want to look at Thisbe, I can hit this little drop down. I can pick her name, and I've only got a couple entries here. You probably can't focus on that, but this just shows me the last time that I took her mass and what it was, and then any notes that I put. And I can pick any animal that I have. If I want to look at my Ollie female, that's all the data I've got on her. That's data going back to 2012, November of 2012. And then down here I have a note where she just recently laid some good eggs. But I'm not going to do a tutorial on how to use Google Docs. There's about 1 billion of those out there. But creating a Google form to use for your animals is something that is really simple to do, and it's honestly the best way that I've found to keep up with data. You just have this form that you create, and the things I put on there, I put on the date, and you just click this icon and you can hit today, and it'll do today's date. You can do a drop down with all the different animals that you've got. So these are just my breeders and things that I have that I really keep track of. You can have, here's where I enter what their mass is. I also have a place to enter miscellaneous data, if they lay eggs, or if they laid some eggs and they were duds and I threw them out or anything. For my snakes, I just have a little check thing for feeding, because I keep up with when I feed those. And then you just hit submit, and it throws it all into a Excel spreadsheet, and you can do all kind of cool stuff with that. I also have made a wildlife log, because I love watching wildlife and things, and so I just made a log where when I find something cool, I can pick what class it is. Is it Mammalia, Reptilia, Aves, Insecta, whatever. Where I found it. Was it a visual encounter, audio voucher for frogs or something like that, or birds? Did I actually capture it? How many were there? What developmental stage were they at? Time of sighting, weather conditions, and things. And I found this really helpful because I've found a lot of animals, particularly salamanders, and a lot of these are really temporal, and so you may remember, oh, I found a ton of spotted salamanders in this particular swamp or slough or wetland, but you can't remember when, and so you go back there in December and you don't find any, when maybe the reality is they're really active in February or something like that. And so this is just a great way of keeping up with data for your animals. So anyways, there's Thisbe. I'm going to keep her forever now, but I'm never going to breed leopard geckos again. Sorry, leopard gecko people.